today's video, we are going to cover writing equations from tables and graphs. Our learning targets for today are I can write linear functions to model relationships, and I can interpret linear functions in real-life situations. Looking at writing equations from tables and graphs, first we'll look at slope-intercept form. So we need two pieces of information in order to write the equation of a linear function, the slope, or m, and the y-intercept, or b. Once we have these two values, we write equations in the form y equals mx plus b, or slope-intercept form. Now from a table, we can find slope by calculating the change in y over the change in x. So we take two values of y and subtract them, and their corresponding x values and subtract those. Then we take the y and divide it by the x. We look for the y-intercept as the value of y, where the x value is equal to 0. Now from a graph, we find the slope by setting up a ratio of rise to run. We look for the y-intercept as the point where the graph crosses the y-axis. Now looking at our examples, number 1, Luke's family goes to the movies and purchases a large popcorn. They're debating whether or not to purchase any drinks. The table below shows how much they'll spend based on the number of drinks they decide to purchase. A, what is the slope? So if I want to find the slope from this table, I want to find the change in y over the change in x. I know my number of drinks is going to be my x, and the total cost is going to be my y, because the cost is going to depend on the number of drinks that I purchase. So if I take my y values and see how much they're changing, I see that they're changing by $3.75 for every one drink. 375 divided by 1 would give me a slope of 375. Now my y-intercept is where my table has a value of 0 for x. So 625 is my y-intercept. Now writing an equation, y equals mx plus b is my slope-intercept form. Slope would be attached with the x, so I'd have y equals 3.75x, and then my y-intercept is 625. So my equation would be y equals 3.75x plus 6.25. What does the slope represent in this situation? Now the slope is representing they're purchasing drinks, so the slope of 375 is the cost of a drink. And what does the y-intercept represent in the situation? Now, at the start, they were debating on whether or not to purchase drinks, and they had already purchased a large popcorn. So I'm starting at one large popcorn. So the y-intercept is the cost of a large popcorn. Looking at number 2, Betty's Bakery uses a chocolate chip cookie recipe that calls for a certain ratio of brown sugar to butter, as shown in the graph. A, what is the slope? So finding slope from a graph, I calculate the rise over the run. Using the two nice points that they gave me, I can calculate the rise of being 3 and the run of being 4. So my slope here is going to be 3 over 4. What's the y-intercept? Y-intercepts of graphs are where the line crosses the y-axis. So that would be this point here at 0. Write an equation. So we write equations in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. My y-intercept is 0, so I won't have a plus b. So I would just have y equals 3/4 x. What does the slope represent in the situation? So I'm baking cookies using butter and brown sugar. So the slope is relating how much butter I need per cup of brown sugar. So it's the cups of butter per cups of brown sugar for a batch of cookies. And then what does the y-intercept represent in this situation? Well, if I don't bake any cookies, I'm not going to need any cups of butter or brown sugar. So the amount of butter and brown sugar you need for 0 cookies is the y-intercept. In today's lesson, we learned to write an equation from a table or graph, find the slope and y-intercept, and plug those values into y equals mx plus b. That's a wrap on today's video. We'll see you in the next one.